My name is David Green. I'm the Director of Programs and Membership at the Cultural Alliance of Fairfield County. First, I want to thank our host, Stepping Stones. I want to thank Rhonda and her wonderful staff, Laura, Christian, Matthew, Todd, and many others. You've been very, very generous, and you've just made working with Stepping Stones such an incredible delight. I want an initial thanks also to our sponsors, Bank of America, Bridgeport Downtown Special Services District, Spinnaker Real Estate Partners, and the Barnum Museum. Thank you all very much. So this has been an interesting journey for us. While we're doing our job of serving our members, close to 600 now, providing unified marketing through our FC Buzz, our weekly eBuzz blast, and other outlets, professional development for the executive directors, marketing and development officers of our members, and advocacy services. We have been increasingly interested in more of a direct engagement with the whole of our communities. As we increasingly realize that the inspiration, the genius of the arts and the humanities, our cultural enterprise, can help us with the rest of our lives, can help solve problems, and lead the community as a whole forward, we have ourselves worked to engage that wider community. Almost 3 years ago, we started with our Creative Ground, Common Ground meeting. I don't know how many of you remember that or were there. That was our first attempt in our now almost 10 years to bring all of our members together at one spot: cultural nonprofits, creative businesses, and individual artists. We had one session on how these different parts of our own membership could collaborate better, could work together more effectively. And then a second session asking how we, as a cultural community, could work better with our municipal governments, our economic development officers, our planners, and so on. Then, just over a year ago now, responding mostly to questions and demands about issues with space, we organized a day-long conference, Creative Spaces for the Creative Economy, looking again at how we could collaborate with each other in finding and sharing space, and again, with our planning and zoning officers, with mayors, with economic development directors, to see how our community could work effectively with government, with developers, with real estate companies, to help us and to help the community. Then this fall, working with the Bridgeport Downtown Special Services District and Connecticut Main Streets, we organized the Citizen Jane Film Festival, celebrating that new film on urban activist Jane Jacobs, and demonstrating and discussing the role of citizens, the arts, and culture in revitalizing our towns, neighborhoods, and cities. So now we move from spaces to places as we meet the questions head on. What are some of the roles that artists and cultural organizations can play in a town's community life and economic development? And what examples can we offer? What are some specific improvements and development projects in each of our towns on which artists, cultural nonprofits, other nonprofits, citizens, developers, and town planners could work collaboratively? So this move to see how the genius of the arts and culture can work together with the professional expertise of town planners, economic development officers, and other professionals now has the label of creative placemaking. But rather than give a definition now of my understanding of creative placemaking, let us see what emerges from the range of speakers we have assembled today. And then tomorrow we have another day. We have been working hard with 9 of our towns. We've had a series of town meetings with an average of 30 citizens, diverse representatives of the town, to have a discussion about the highlights of what are some of the issues going on in the town, what are some of the great qualities of the town, and how could we perhaps work together, begin to work together on creating a creative placemaking project that would be relevant to the situation in that particular town. So tomorrow, guided by senior staff from the National Endowment for the Arts, now that the government is open, we can enjoy the presence of the National Endowment for the Arts, Art Place America, and the Local Initiative Support Corporation, LISC. They will be guiding teams from our 9 towns as they work on specific projects. So we're all very excited to see what comes out of the other end of that pipeline. So stay tuned, and I know many of you here are on those working groups. So thank you again for your interest and your commitment to this program. So again, I want to thank you all for coming, all of the speakers, all of the moderators who have agreed to testify to the impact of the arts in making more creative and successful and vibrant places in Fairfield County. I also want to thank, of course, the often unthanked Miggs Burrows for designing our wonderful logo. Miggs is not here yet, I think, but thank you, Miggs. All right, so I would like to open the proceedings by introducing Patrick McMahon. After 20 years in municipal economic development, Patrick became CEO of the Connecticut Main Street Center in August 2017. Connecticut Main Streets is a statewide nonprofit with the mission, the catalyst that ignites Connecticut's main streets as the cornerstones of thriving communities. And as I just mentioned, we were thrilled to be able to work with Connecticut Main Streets and with Patrick in particular on our Citizen Jane project this fall. It was a fun event, Patrick, and we'll have to do it again. Patrick was the Director of Development in Suffield for 15 years, working on community branding and marketing, community facilities planning, town center enhancement, and economic development efforts around Bradley International Airport. Patrick also served part-time for 12 years as economic development consultant to Windsor Locks. Downtown Windsor Locks had been devastated by urban renewal that had torn down the historic fiber of Main Street, and Patrick worked to bring life back to the Main Street. He initiated a Main Street master planning study, which is resulting now in the relocation of the train platform, the conversion of a 250,000 square foot vacant mill building into residential apartments, and over $3 million in streetscaping improvements. Patrick started his career in his hometown of Windsor with a focus on revitalizing the Wilson neighborhood, and also worked with Windsor's Main Street program, First Town Downtown. Patrick is a past president of the Connecticut Economic Development Association and was instrumental in securing the passage of the very effective new municipal tax increment financing legislation, affectionately known as TIF. Right. So without further ado, I'd like you to please join me in welcoming Patrick McMahon.